Next News, breaking news.
The hunters just became the hunted. The Southern Poverty Law Center, the same far-left outlet that spent years smearing Christians and parents and conservatives and even this network, is now under Justice Department investigation over its use of paid informants. Let that sink in. The group that built an empire by branding others as dangerous is now answering questions about its own tactics. And under President Donald Trump, accountability is no longer just a slogan. It's happening. So is this the beginning of the end for one of the left's favorite political weapons? Well, you are about to see why the panic on their side is very, very real. Now, why does it matter? Well, it matters because the SPLC was never just some activist group shouting from the sidelines. For years, its labels were treated like official truth by media outlets, tech platforms, corporations, and even federal agencies. If they tagged your church, your parent group, your nonprofit, your YouTube channel, or your political movement as extremists, that label could choke off donations, trigger censorship, invite threats, and turn everyday Americans into targets. Congressman Chip Roy said it plainly: the SPLC transformed from an anti-Klan litigation into a political fundraising machine driven by an ever-expanding hate mission. Judiciary Republicans and author Tyler O'Neill have laid out how during the former Biden administration, SPLC narratives seeped into federal training and censorship efforts, even touching the FBI's disgraceful focus on traditional Catholics. That's not just bias, that is political weaponization. And now the Trump administration's Justice Department is reportedly examining whether the group's own methods cross the line. The targeter is now targeted, and millions of Americans who were smeared, like us, deserve answers. And while Washington is finally forcing political operations into the light, President Trump's also moving with real urgency to secure something America cannot afford to lose. I'm talking about our mineral independence. This breaking news right from the White House. They just announced over $3 billion to secure America's critical mineral supply chains and named a specific Alaskan project as a key strategic asset for U.S. mineral independence. Now, personally, I have been to the Vizsla copper drilling site in Canada myself. I've inspected the core samples. I've seen the entire operation. And what's happening right now at their sister location in Alaska, it's bigger than most people realize. You see, President Trump just unveiled Project Vault. It's a $12 billion strategic minerals reserve designed to stockpile essential resources and keep America strong against foreign supply shocks. Vizsla Copper is positioned right at the center of that story. Now, if you want to understand where the smart money may be looking next, check the exclusive briefing, but it is only for Next News viewers. You'll find it linked below. And remember this, Vizsla Copper trades in the U.S., write it down, it's on your screen, under VCUFF, and in Canada as VCU.V. So do your homework now before the crowd catches on, and we thank them for supporting our work here. Now back to the story, because what the DOJ is looking at goes straight to the heart of how the left built a censorship machine right here in America. And this is the part the corporate press never wants to say out loud. The SPLC's power did not come from moral authority. It came from institutional protection. During the previous administration, its material was treated as credible by people inside government, even after public blowback. Tyler O'Neill pointed to the FBI's now infamous memo targeting so-called radical traditional Catholics, a documented tie to SPLC-style labeling. So when the DOJ now investigates the SPLC itself, it's not some side story, it's a direct challenge to the pipeline that turned partisan activism into federal pressure. This all over the news today. Southern Poverty, this is from CNN Politics of all places. Southern Poverty Law Center says it's under investigation by the Justice Department over its use of paid informants. Oh, poor guys. Yeah, dig deep, please. So CNN reporting, they're under DOJ investigation. AP tightens it up, some breaking reports, a clearer look. This is from the Associated Press. The Southern Poverty Law Center says it's facing investigation over past use of paid informants to infiltrate extremist groups. Crimea River. Headlines confirming the DOJ is circling the SPLC over its informant tactics. Now here's Congressman Chip Roy laying out the conservative case against the group's so-called hate map and why it became a political weapon. His opening statement on the SPLC and the Judiciary GOP.
Today, the subcommittee meets to examine a troubling reality. That one of the most politically motivated, financially lucrative, and ideologically extreme nonprofits in America, the Southern Poverty Law Center, has been permitted to wield extraordinary influence over federal civil rights policy, federal law enforcement training, and the private sector mechanisms that increasingly dictate who is permitted to participate in civic life. This is a far cry from the Southern Poverty Law Center's early reputation as a group engaged in concrete litigation against civil violence and the KKK. But the SPLC has reinvented itself as a political fundraising machine built on an ever-expanding ideologically defined hate mission. Since 2000, the SPLC has published what it calls a hate map, a physical nationwide map that places bright red markers over the approximate location of designated hate groups across America. The map is updated annually, amplified to the media, and used by activists and even federal agencies as if it were a neutral intelligence product. How did we arrive at a point where a tax-exempt political organization can smear mainstream faith-based groups, parental rights advocates, even Muslims who reject terrorism, or student groups like Turning Point USA, and virtually anyone else who disagrees with its far-left ideology as extremists? Feeding these designations directly into federal agencies, watching as violence follows, and then continuing to profit from the very fear it helps create. This is not neutral monitoring. It is a political weapon masquerading as a public interest watchdog. SPLC leadership openly admits as such, with a spokesman stating plainly, quote, "Our aim in life is to destroy these groups, completely destroy them," end quote. This is despite explaining that their designations are strictly ideological, not based on criminality, violence, or danger, conceding that their hate group labels are based on opinion, not objective standards. And to illustrate just how far this mission creep has gone, the Center for Immigration and Federation for American Immigration Reform, which are groups dedicated to evaluating the effects of mass illegal and legal immigration, are labeled as hate groups by the SPLC. The SPLC's November 2025 Extremism Tracking Bulletin even flagged me personally, not for violence or lawlessness or any actual threat, but for legislative work on issues like border security and concerns about radical Islamism. A mere difference of policy opinion may land you on SPLC's hate map that has countless groups listed over mere disagreements. Moreover, these labels have real-world consequences, including the 2012 armed attack on the Family Research Council, an attack in which the shooter admitted he selected his target directly from the SPLC hate list and used the hate map to determine FRC's location. He then entered with 50 rounds of ammo and a bag of Chick-fil-A sandwiches he intended to smear on his victims' faces as a political message. And even after this attack, federal agencies continued relying on SPLC materials, with the FBI citing SPLC classifications in at least 13 intelligence products on so-called radical traditionalist Catholics. We see this same pattern again more than a decade later, when on September 9th, 2025, one day before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, the SPLC's Hate Watch newsletter singled out Charlie and Turning Point USA by name, labeling them dangerous extremists. And as with FRC, in the aftermath of Charlie's assassination, there have been no retractions, no accountability, and no acknowledgement of the risks inherent in branding mainstream political figures as existential threats. These incidents, separated by 13 years, but linked by the same targeting architecture, underscore a sobering reality. The SPLC's designations don't merely stigmatize, they can serve as ideological permission slips for individuals already willing to commit political violence.
So there's Chip Roy. You want to see something crazy, though? Well, I'll get to that. I'll get to that. I just found it. Oh, boy. Roy says SPLC turned itself into a smear machine that targets mainstream conservatives and Christians. Steve Guest picks up on that thread, calling out the media outlets to still treat SPLC and the ADL like neutral referees. This is the problem. Axios, for decades, Anti-Defamation League and Southern Poverty Law Center have shaped America's understanding of hate. The Anti-Defamation League and SPLC are radical left-wing groups that are solely focused on smearing conservatives. And then posting to the Axios tweet. If the media keeps laundering SPLC as authority, critics say real damage follows. Up next, Elon Musk makes that charge directly, saying SPLC's Charlie Kirk hate watch linking to incitement. Elon Musk said the SPLC is guilty of incitement to murder Charlie Kirk because the day before Kirk was killed, the SPLC put him on their hate watch newsletter. Oh, are you ready for this? Get ready. Get ready for this. And this is what the SPLC posted about yours truly. Meet the Patriots. This was in 2010. 16 years ago. The Intelligence Report. Summer 2010, issue 138. You can download the issue. Who was on it? Chuck Baldwin. Let's see. Joe Bannister. Martin Red Beckman. The father of the Patriot movement. The needle of estrogen, Catherine Bleich. I remember Catherine. Who else? Chris Broughton, who brought an AR-15 to a protest years ago. The pricey patriot, Bob Campbell. And where am I? I'm in here. Let's keep going. There, the FEMA fabulous. Look at the pictures they picked. Gary Franchi is one of the leading promoters of a resurgent patriot conspiracy theory that argues the government is creating concentration camps for U.S. citizens. In 2009, he produced Camp FEMA, American Lockdown, a video contending that the Federal Emergency Management Agency is behind the camps that could be used to house political dissenters. Franchi also serves as National Director of Restore the Republic, whose preoccupation includes eliminating the Federal Reserve and the IRS, making it illegal to implant microchips in people, another popular patriot conspiracy theory, and ending globalization because it will supposedly lead to one world government. Franchi asserts the site is attracting nearly 1,000 members monthly. He also runs the Patriot social networking site Restore the Republic, hosts weekly reality report on Freedom TV, and serves as the managing editor of Republic magazine. Oh yes, those were the days, weren't they? 16 years ago. Well, finally, they are getting what is coming to them. Oh, back in the day, huh? What do you know? So let's keep going into this investigation, into their reckoning, shall we? Okay. Restore order. Under Biden, the SPLC was tied to the Biden DOJ. Now the Trump DOJ is going after them. America First Legal. Today, America First Legal released explosive documents obtained through Freedom of Information Act requests showing how Biden's Department of Justice partnered with the Southern Poverty Law Center and gave the left-wing extremist group unprecedented access and influence over federal civil rights enforcement. Now let's shift to Tyler O'Neill, zeroing in on one of the clearest examples. The FBI using SPLC material to target traditional Catholics.
Last year, the FBI let us in on a secret. The real threat to America is traditional Catholics. Apparently, Catholics who attend the Latin Mass are a secret cabal of hate, full of anti-Semites and homophobes. This is, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center? Oh right, that's not a reliable source, and the FBI even admitted as much. When a brave whistleblower published the FBI's report on radical traditional Catholics, the Bureau rushed to rescind the document. More than a year after the FBI publicly retracted the memo, the SPLC has kept radical traditional Catholic hate groups on its hate map. The 2023 hate map, released last week, claims that for radical traditionalist Catholics, Anti-Semitism is an inextricable part of their theology. The SPLC branded the Ruth Institute, a small Roman Catholic organization, an anti-LGBTQ+ hate group. Why? The Ruth Institute's founder, Jennifer Roback Morse, restated the centuries-old official position of the Catholic Church on sexuality. If quoting the Catechism is enough to make the Ruth Institute a hate group, then the entire Catholic Church should be considered a hate group. The Biden administration has reached out to the SPLC for advice in countering the domestic terror threat. President Biden, who calls himself Catholic and goes to Mass, needs to explain why he's relying on an extremely anti-Catholic organization.
Oh, but I'm not done yet. I'm definitely not done yet. I just found another gem. Here is another hit job that the SPLC did on me. Let's see, when was this one? Is there a date on this? Let's see. Oh, this is the headline is Conspiracy Propagandists. Key moments. Conspiracy propagandists aim to delegitimize government institutions or government officials by stoking fear concerning door-to-door gun confiscations, martial law, and supposed takeover by the New World Order or Deep State, and anxieties around the Federal Emergency Management Agency. So the article goes on and on and on here. And then I believe they do have a list here. They list my pillow, Mike Lindell, Moms for Liberty. In 2024, we continue to see fallout. Let's see. I know that they must be updating this page. Key organizations: InfoWars, WorldNet Daily, John Birch Society. 2024 conspiracy propagandist groups. So this is the 2024 list. There it is. Next News Network, right there. Right there. Next News Network listed on their Hate Watch map. As of 2024, 2 groups. Next News Network. I hope they get what's coming to them. And I hope that this investigation causes them a lot of true reckoning, really. Oh, man. This is just music to my ears. Continuing now, let's go. We have more from Tyler O'Neill in his testimony at the House Judiciary GOP, exposing their scheme to work with the Biden-Harris White House to censor Americans. Come on. I know you can do it.
Imagine that an organization notorious for comparing mainstream conservatives and Christians to the Ku Klux Klan, which inspired a literal domestic terror attack and has ties to Antifa, advised the federal government on how to counter the domestic terrorism threat. This Orwellian nightmare isn't a hypothetical. It actually happened in the Biden administration, and it's the reason I'm testifying before you today. In the next few minutes, I will explain just how biased the SPLC is, its influence in the previous administration, and why this should concern every American. The SPLC gained its reputation by suing Ku Klux Klan groups into bankruptcy, but now it weaponizes that reputation, putting mainstream conservative and Christian groups on a hate map with Klan chapters. It uses this map to scare donors into contributing to its $786 million endowment and to demonize its political and ideological opponents by suggesting opposition to its agenda is driven by hate. On the hate map are moms and dads who oppose critical race theory in schools, doctors who question the grotesque transgender treatments euphemistically referred to as gender-affirming care, and even lesbians and gays who oppose Drag Queen Story Hour. The hate map inspired a terrorist attack at the Family Research Council in Washington, D.C. The man who opened...
And of course, Next News Network graces their map.
...fire at the congressional baseball game practice had liked the SPLC on Facebook and supported Bernie Sanders. The SPLC also added Turning Point USA to the hate map mere months before Charlie Kirk's assassination. Yet, none of this led the Biden administration to think twice about working with the SPLC.
So, there it is. You're hearing the SPLC painted as a partisan censor with access to the federal bureaucracy. You don't need to pray. I found this when I was doing my search today. Just look up the source article. Next News Network gets most of its news from Russian state media such as RT and Sputnik. They're also considered a hate group by the SPLC. And that's the cycle critics are talking about. SPLC brands a target, others repeat it as fact. Taylor O'Neill comes back with a tougher question whether SPLC map its Antifa ties in the Charlie Kirk case deserve federal scrutiny. Earlier this year, he says, I broke the news that the SPLC added Turning Point USA to the hate map with Klan chapters after Charlie Kirk's death and Trump rightly designating Antifa a domestic terror group. It's high time the FBI officially formalized the stance.
The horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk has highlighted the threat of leftist violence, and President Trump has responded by designating Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. As the feds turn to look at networks that may be supporting Antifa, I'd like to highlight some disturbing connections between Antifa and the Southern Poverty Law Center. The SPLC gained its reputation by suing Ku Klux Klan groups into bankruptcy, but now it publishes a hate map that plots mainstream conservative and Christian groups alongside Klan chapters. The map inspired a terrorist attack against the Family Research Council in 2012. 4 months before Kirk's assassination, the SPLC put Turning Point USA on that hate map. The SPLC condemned both the FRC shooting and the Kirk assassination, but it has yet to remove FRC or Turning Point from the hate map. Worse, it has carried water for Antifa, a loosely organized group of violent agitators.
So you get the point, right? See, this is the real headline. The Trump administration is not merely disagreeing with the left's narrative machine. It's forcing that machine to answer for itself. AP and CNN both report that the SPLC says it's under Justice Department investigation over paid informants used to infiltrate extremist groups, but the deeper issue is bigger than one tactic. The same organization accused of placing mainstream groups on a hate map, smearing Turning Point USA with Klan chapters and helping shape censorship thinking under the former Biden White House is now under federal scrutiny. That accountability is coming full circle, and for every American who was defamed, debanked, shadow banned, or threatened after an SPLC label, this moment says something powerful. The era of automatic immunity for left-wing political enforcers may be ending. So the lesson tonight is very simple. When a far-left group can brand decent Americans as hateful, feed those labels to the media and government, and then hide behind a tax-exempt halo, freedom itself takes a hit. The good news is that under President Trump, the system is finally being challenged, not by slogans, but by action. The SPLC helped create a culture of intimidation, and yes, they came after us too. Next News Network was put on their list. I was labeled as Patriot number 9. I wear it as a badge of honor because if they are targeting you, chances are you are telling the truth they fear the most. So now I want to hear from you. Should every federal agency be banned from using SPLC materials, yes or no? Comment below. And share this report everywhere. Subscribe if you're done letting the gatekeepers decide what you can hear, and text raw feed to 844-840-4963 for direct updates to your phone from me. And check out the Next News merch shelf below this video. Stay bold, stay free, and never stop fighting.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
I want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.